Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. It's 5:30. Welcome to the August special meeting. Tonight is not our typical meeting. It's gonna be a workshop. I see that we have a couple of citizens here that want to do citizens communication. So normally we start with citizens communication, but I want to knock off one thing off of our agenda real quick if the directors don't mind. And that is item number 2B, certification of the 2024 appraised values. Have you all seen that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, start on page 4 of the packet, yes.
Yeah, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the values?
Motion.
Second, Director Roberts? Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and get into citizens communication. Oh, do we have the owls on?
Yes.
Okay, great. Can you see me okay?
Yes.
Okay, I've heard complaints that people wanna see my facial expressions, so I just wanna make sure that I'm seen, okay? So first person for citizen communication, I have Ashley Hashberger. And if you wouldn't mind coming to the podium, we have the owl that will pick you up. Pick up your voice. You have 3 minutes, and do you have a video to go along with yours?
Yes, I think it was emailed earlier.
It was, Chris, you have that one?
Yes.
Do you want us to start with the video?
You can play it in the background. Y'all can look at it instead of me. That's perfectly fine.
Okay, all right. You have it.
Well, it's gonna, over the Zoom, it'll prefer the video over what she's saying, and so.
Okay, so can we watch it afterwards then?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, Ashley, go ahead. Yeah, and you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, and thank you for having us tonight. I'm Ashley Hashbarger, and I'm just one of the many community volunteers who volunteer at the Blockhouse Community Garden. Over the course of our time together tonight, we want to not only ask for funding, of course, otherwise why would we be here, but we also want to share with you the accomplishments that our garden has seen so far and kind of our vision for where we're headed. So thanks to the Mudboard's generous vision of the community garden, where it started many years ago to where it is now, as well as countless hours, time, skills, and efforts of our community volunteers, our garden has really become a central hub for community involvement, knowledge development, and of course, growing delicious food, because that's the vital part. So in the short time that we have focused our efforts on engaging the community, engaging the garden and the community, is focused on 3 things: building community engagement, sustainable growing methods, and education on nature and gardening resources. So for community engagement, we have raised the occupancy from 8% of garden beds being utilized by our community to 82% of total beds in August. And actually all of our large plots have already been reserved for the year, and there is a wait list growing for next year. The garden is currently tending some of the smaller plots since those are still available.
May I ask you a quick question? How many plots are there?
There are 24.
We have
29, sorry.
And that's all.
Yes, thank you. We have organized lots of volunteer events, which have given us the availability to provide hours for students across our community who needed hours for volunteer purposes in their schools and community. We've also improved the property without really requesting a whole lot of funds to this point by cleaning up the garden front fence line, trimming trees, removing dead brush, repairing some of the fence line, removing mulch, which was been building up on the fence line and causing it to buckle. We've connected residents together, just gotten to see more faces, and then provided entertainment for children to be hands-on in the dirt instead of at home, maybe using technology more than getting their hands dirty. We've also created seating areas for residents to relax and hosted neighborhood market days, which have created an opportunity for neighbors to socialize and have fun, and created just a unique space where people are able to purchase homegrown nutritious food and know exactly where that food has come from. The last market days was a huge hit. We had lots of gardeners who were able to sell their own produce. We were able to introduce more people to our garden. Several people I spoke to said they haven't been to the garden yet, so it was just a great way to connect people and let them get back to knowing exactly where their food is coming from. We're practicing sustainable growing methods by removing invasive plants such as the China berries, honeysuckles, some Japanese honeysuckles, nandina, and mimosa trees that are kind of invading that gardening space. We've also been maintaining much of the grounds by ourselves using tools donated to the garden from neighbors in the community, so a huge thank you to that. We have our own lawnmower, pole saw, string trimmer, just all of these things that we've been able to gather through donations so that we haven't had to ask for those resources. That's also allowed us to repurpose a lot of found items such as garden property, like logs, things that would have otherwise gone to the landfill. We've helped lots of neighbors haul off logs and things that they would have otherwise had to pave to get removed so that we can repurpose it into our garden. Things like logs and dirt and edging. And then of course, we've gotten to utilize the birdhouses to make our space look more beautiful. Finally, we have been educating members of just how to grow your own food, how to become more sustainable practices. We're partnering with the Central Texas Mycological Society, which is keeping, so far, up to 6 truckloads of mushroom blocks out of landfills. And this is gonna become an ongoing thing as we've been able to partner with them to allow our community members to come to the Blockhouse Creek to pick up their own mushroom blocks, if they choose to. All of that is for free. We've also worked with lots of first-time gardeners, teaching them how to grow their own food, what types of plants to plant, shared resources, how to compost, how to fertilize appropriately without killing off insects, how to manage insects naturally. And then of course, creating space for our native pollinators, using mass plantings of flowers, and really encouraging the decrease of pesticides so that we're increasing natural pollinators to help just beautify our systems.
Great, thank you, Ashley. Okay, second person up is.
May I ask one more question?
Sure.
Okay. How many additional plots were you suggesting?
Can I turn that question over to some of the other
Absolutely.
people who have much more knowledge than
Thank
I do? Yes.
Okay, Monica.
That's the person. How did you know?
Oh, do you wanna see your video? How long's the video?
It's like 4 minutes, so it's okay. It's just a lot of it has been posted on Facebook before. It's a lot of the montages of.
You know what we can do is when you guys are all done, we can just be playing it and then when we finalize the video, it will be part of the video. So we will all make sure we look at it.
Perfect, okay.
Monica Lovejoy, number 2.
Hi, everybody. I'm Monica. Thank you for having us all here today. I'm going to be discussing our goals and projects for the community garden. We've been working on constructing a food forest, which is a diverse planting of edible plants that attempts to mimic the ecosystems and patterns found in nature. Perennial, deep-rooted, and low-maintenance plants are of key importance. The focus in a food forest system is working sustainably with nature. The reason that we're adding this expansion is the garden has become very successful. We are at full occupancy for the large garden beds. Adding that room to grow, it's going to allow more residents to connect with each other and enjoy the benefits of homegrown produce. Much of the garden property is on a slope with erosion creating damage to the security fence. We believe that by planting those deep-rooted perennial shrubs and trees, we can help mitigate that damage, while at the same time producing food and supporting the native wildlife and the pollinators. The garden has large patches of non-native Bermuda grass, which is known as a food desert. Eliminating some patches of the grass for more environmentally friendly plants will help offset habitat loss created by local development. So our goals. We're going to finish the construction and planting of the food forest, including fruit trees. We're going to install irrigation to the food forest. We will begin work on a compost area with the ability to accept donations from the community. We're going to continue our monthly market days. The first one was very successful. We look forward to the next ones through the holidays. We're going to update the plot rental contract for sustainability, soil health, and water conservation. We'll have a dedicated place for funds to land for the garden and choose treasurers for those funds. We would like to gain clarity on the requirements for the chicken project. We would like to further support our vital pollinators with discussion of beehives at the garden. We want to add some additional garden plots. Justin is gonna have details on that. We will install rainwater catchment system off the roof of the Germano building. It's a metal roof, it's already very well set up to catch some rainwater, so we definitely want to look at that. We're going to add some seating space under the trees for meetings and neighborhood social events, host educational classes and resident workshops, add a food donation stand outside the garden, and possibly partner with Boy Scouts for the construction of that. If the chickens and bees vote pass, we're going to begin work on those projects. So in conclusion, this expansion and other improvements will enhance the garden, allow more residents to participate by creating a more enjoyable space for everyone. These sustainable and environmentally thoughtful changes will allow us to grow and thrive, not just as gardeners, but as a community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next we have Mark. Hello, Mark.
Hey, guys. Right, so you know my name's Mark Hinchard, I'm Monica's husband. Thanks for having us tonight.
You spell your last name?
PINCHARD.
Thank you.
So tonight I'm just going to be discussing the benefits of drip irrigation. Don't have pictures. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. So, pictures show two plots. The two on the left are our plots. And when we did this in March, we installed drip irrigation. Fast forward to August, the heat of August, the heat of Texas summer, and our garden looks like this. That's one benefit right there. You can see the same plots, and honestly, drip irrigation makes a big difference for plant health, production, and for water efficiency. Drip irrigation is actually 90% water efficient versus only 50 to 70% with a hose, resulting in greater sustainability and lower bills. It also saves time by allowing gardeners to have their hands free to harvest, help other gardeners, or do maintenance around the garden plot. It delivers water to the roots instead of the foliage, which reduces disease. Drip irrigation is highly customizable to fit every type of watering need. With a traditional hose and sprayer, it is easy to erode soil from plant roots. With drip irrigation, water is released very slowly, which helps with erosion. Water hoses and sprayers need frequent repair, maintenance. Drip is much more durable and lasts for years. That's all I have for you guys.
Wonderful.
I'll leave the
Thank
next
you, Mark.
step up for Justin, who's going to give you more details on how we're going to run
Yeah,
it.
and I think Director Roberts has a good question.
Yeah, I think somebody was gonna give me the number of additional plots. Is that you?
That's me. I'm
Did I
the
do,
numbers guy.
okay, I have one question for you. Do you have an idea of what the cost is for the drip irrigation?
Yes, we do. We
That's you,
got
okay.
that. You're just waiting for Justin. Justin, welcome.
Come
All
on.
right, hello, everybody. My name is Justin Powell. I have these, if y'all want a visual aid.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll pass them around. I was counting on 6, so y'all might have to share a couple of them. Again, my name is Justin Powell. I have a very vast agricultural background. Starting at the age of 8 years old, I was working in 1,000+ tree pecan orchards. By the time I was 16, I was managing 3 of those, harvesting over 50,000 pounds a year of pecans. I also have a 18-year construction welding fabrication background. So I'm pretty suited for giving you all the numbers on there. So far, what we're looking at, it's still in the air on getting the blue dotted lines is where we believe the water's running. Luckily, we got it hashed out where the solid lines where the red dots are. The red dots are possible locations for future beds.
These slashes are over here.
Over on the red on the bottom left, correct. Yeah, the circled red area was brought up to me by Lisa earlier today, that could be a possible contamination area because of the water process in place. So we're not really planning on doing anything in there immediately other than direct storage. We would like to continue to be in line with the water runoff, how it usually would flow, because that's going to benefit the downstream plants. As I believe Monica said, we are looking at possibly supplementing the drip irrigation with any runoff or any rainwater collection that we can use. I'm big on that. I've built many rainwater collection tanks. As she said, our extra beds, currently we're looking for probably 12 larger beds at this point. Those aren't the smaller ones because they're not getting rented as quickly. With that being said, we're looking around the irrigation itself, without having a sonar, the top end, we're looking at about $10,000. For drip irrigation in ground, probably running PEX off of the supply lines. I'm willing to buy an independent meter in the meantime, so we have a case study that we can look at for water usage just for us rather than the entire property. It's also been brought that y'all would prefer to rent the entire property to an entity or a person and then sub that out. I'm totally open to that as well, if we need to raise our own funds for that. For the additional beds, so far, y'all, as well as the volunteers here, have spent $1,185 ourselves out of our own pockets for dirt and soil and expenditures. We need probably twice that in the food forest to raise the to raise the soil level above the in-ground pipes that are there, so we don't have any risk to damage on those. We're also planning on putting a berm at the front of the food forest to divert any runoff to avoid any further erosion as well. And that will all go down and it'll end up collecting and feeding those downstream beds as well. So total, about $9,000 on beds, soil, rebar, and then about $10,000 for the drip irrigation systems
Wait,
as
in
well.
addition to the 9?
Correct, yeah, and I was keeping the irrigation separate because there's a lot of factors that go into there. As y'all know, we're in the hill country. To install some of those lines, we might need a rock saw, trencher, things like that. That's all up in there, and I'm working with Crossroads to get those marked out to figure out what we have going on there.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, oh yeah,
So,
only question here.
I just wanna make sure, these 4 things that are underlined
Yes.
is the 19 estimate, I realize it's an estimate, but.
Yes, yeah, and with that being said, we're not asking for all of it to come from y'all, obviously. We're asking that as a matching to get us sustainable to where we are fully self-sustained by 2026, that's the goal.
Okay, cool. Like I said, I just wanted to make sure I could crosswalk back and forth.
Correct.
Okay, great. Let's go around the table. Director Shoemaker, do you have any questions?
Just on this map here,
Yes,
you can't see, I guess, but, where exactly is the food forest gonna go? Like, I see the plots down here. I
okay,
get the
so,
drip irrigation, I see there's supposed to be a meter here. Is this area the food forest?
no, that is what I call the contamination zone.
Is this gonna be the food forest spot here now?
The little red circle,
Yeah.
dotted circle, that is the food forest.
Okay, thank you.
That's where we cleared out.
And it's actually already built.
Yes,
It's 4 quadrants. And so the 4 quadrants are built, the pathways are in. We've
They
had,
already cleared it.
yeah, we cleared it, and we've already planted some stuff in there.
Got it.
So, they haven't done any of the trees yet because we need full board approval for that. And that will be on the agenda on the 28th.
Is that the area you showed me with
Yeah, I
the
walked you
logs
through it.
where they cut the logs and
Yeah.
blocked them? Okay, that was nice, okay.
Okay, thank you,
It's
I just wanted clarity on the map.
cool, cool.
Director Roberts, do you have any questions?
Yes, just an answer on how many more plots?
Currently, we're aiming for 12 more large beds, which would be equivalent to, each large plot is about 3 of the smaller beds. But like I said, there's not as much interest in the smaller beds, because, it's direct sun, most plants will grow and block everything else out. The larger beds will hold more water, so there's less watering as well.
So my other question is this, currently they're the center blocks, the concrete center
Correct.
blocks. Are those too hot for beds, or is there another alternative that would make it a little cooler?
I believe with them being hollow, if we stack them upwards, it actually creates an R value.
Okay, all right, that's
And then on my bed, I actually filled all of that with compost, because I water around that so it doesn't leach into the concrete.
good, thank you. Okay, and then my other one was the cost per plot. Do you have it broken down? I see there's some numbers over here of 76 blocks for each one.
Yeah, roughly it's about 70 to 76 blocks per bed
Okay.
at the current size. Those are roughly $2 a block.
$152 a bed,
Correct.
okay.
The rebar to reinforce them for the fallout, because as you know, the pressure, unless we mortar, but I don't wanna do that because that induces lye and lime and the mortar
So
mix.
it's about $173.
Correct.
Okay.
And so, yeah, roughly for the 12 beds, 1,276 to be pretty close to the numbers.
Oh, 2076, okay.
Correct.
Okay, anything else?
Is this
Director?
for me, or is this just
They all
everybody
need it,
sharing
yeah.
it? Can we get
I
a
can share.
copy of this?
Yeah.
Okay, Director Johnson, do you have any questions?
No, I already asked my question.
Okay, Director Young.
So on the blackhousemudtex.gov website, we have our community
And I think that when prospective buyers are considering moving here, that's likely a place that they would visit. I would like to promote the garden on our community under the parks. Could I request of you guys to write up what you would like to, you can include photos. I would like to, we'll link the contract for getting the bed for the year and the rules of the park, all that stuff. We'll link that on the page. But I'd like to get a page under our community, under parks, where it's the community garden, and then it would be a write-up of that, so.
Sounds good.
I don't know if you've seen this,
Yeah,
Director Young, the packet they handed out, but this would probably be a good thing to
Okay.
put on there.
Cool.
Yeah, but if there's any like editing instead of like, hey, on this paper or whatever, like on this website, just get that stuff changed over.
Yes, sir.
And we could, along with what Director Young is stating is, we do a lot of stuff on the Facebook page, but we should put some of those reels and some of this, like a slideshow and different things that'd be good.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, I haven't had a chance to ask any questions yet. I know at one time I know we went down, looked at a couple of community gardens and they have more in-ground beds. Are y'all still thinking about that or more of the raised beds?
I think the raised beds, because of the land grade.
Oh,
The
okay,
raised beds will create a natural berm to stop erosion.
yeah,
The food forest is different because we need deeper roots
Yeah.
for the fruit trees. Those roots will go down and spread across, thank you. They'll spread across underneath that fence, try to hold everything in.
yeah,
I think from here on out, the long beds are the best, because even the placement of that, we can direct water from.
okay. And then, I see more questions and it just left me. I love that you're, trying to do teaching some classes. I think that's
Yes.
really great. This is really about building community and it goes back to block watching, getting to know our neighbors and all that, so thank you so much for that.
I didn't want to dive too much into my background because I have 3 minutes, but I got my master gardeners at 17. I have a biotech lab in my garage here where I do tissue cultures. I do mycology where I actually clone mushroom cells into mushroom blocks. I have a business here that does microgreens and mushrooms, so
Got it.
I'm inside my garage 24/7 basically doing
I talked to you.
biology.
Yes.
Yes.
So my other 2 points were, you touched on what the new contract will look like, and I know you guys are gonna redline that. And I don't know if it's clear to the rest of the directors, but they're basically gonna have some no soil can be exposed, so you'll have
Yes.
compost or hay down, which is really important, because that will keep down how much you have to water. And Justin shared the other day, he only waters every 3 days or so.
Every 2 to 3 days, correct. Because
Yeah, which is
I have a
huge.
2-inch layer of mulch and mushroom substrate on top.
And
So you deep water and it stays.
yeah, it's great. And then in addition to that, they are looking at suggesting, right now it's $20 to rent a bed, and they're considering maybe $50 or more, and that's something we all can discuss and vote on. But I think it's for multiple reasons. One, we have had a couple of gardeners that thought the idea was kind of fun to garden, have their kids come out and play, but the reality is you really want someone that's committed, that's gonna be out there. And because we have, I'll say myself included, spent my own money, getting soil and different things, that we really do need to try to get some more funds, because you guys are really making a huge difference out there.
I put probably $1,000 and
Yeah.
20 hours a week. They probably put 40+ hours a week,
Yeah.
equal amount of money.
Yeah, so,
And I'm always there to do repairs. I told Ursula when that spigot broke, I repaired it not to step on anybody's toes. It needed to be done, it was a water conservation issue, so I just took care of it.
Yeah.
It needed to be done.
but he did stay in contact with Lisa,
Yes,
so he knew,
yes.
so it was, they understand not to get too aggressive on
I
something.
have, as the general manager, I have a great relationship with the gardeners. They actually have been able to self-sustain themselves. They do come to me and ask questions, and I am a liaison between them and you guys, and like I said, try and just get
Great.
as much communication as we can. So they've been working very, very well together.
So thank you so much. You guys took a lot of time and consideration in putting this together, and I know it's the second week of school, and actually I know you're crazy, second day, yeah. So, we really do appreciate all the time and thought, and I really enjoyed getting to work with you all. And if any of the directors have any questions, please reach out to them. They're always at the gardens. You can
Awesome.
find them anytime.
Yeah, and you
Thank you all for the time.
can call me anytime if y'all have
Awesome.
supplementary questions.
Thank you.
I was very
Thank you.
impressed,
Awesome.
very impressed.
Thanks,
you all.
everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you, y'all have a good evening.
Oh, we have a video.
Oh, yeah, we'll play the video, but more importantly, we will have it up. Do you want to start playing it now? But we're gonna kind of go on to our workshop
Yeah,
part.
all good.
Okay.
Awesome. Y'all have a nice night.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Nice seeing you.
great group of people.
Before we get started, I just want you all to know that you do have your landscaper on Zoom right now. We also have Premier Recreations for the pools, as well as, who else do I have online, Chris? I have 3 total contractors. Oh, and we also have Family of Operations for Crossroads. So if you have any questions, whenever we get into those areas, you're welcome to pull them up and we can ask them some questions, okay?
Okay, so do you wanna go ahead and take it?
Sure. All right, so if you guys can go ahead and pull out your budget, it looks like this. I know you guys have been through this
Put the
before.
budget up on the wall.
You can share it.
Okay, I'll share.
Yeah, I think we'll have to look at that video later.
Yeah.
Or
Can I
this is
have
the
that
time.
played at the end before we adjourn, perhaps?
Yeah, or just
Or
look at
just
it
send
on
it
your own.
to us.
YouTube or something.
Well, I think we're trying to include it in the stream for the rest.
Yeah, so when
You
it's
can do that
posted,
later.
yeah.
Just,
We can what?
Can you
I'll
just
put it in
send
the
that?
chat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Guys, this makes me feel like I'm in Clockwork Orange and they're trying to brainwash me with Lincoln Lights, and it's, I honestly can't focus very well with it. Can we either turn the lights off or turn the fans off or something?
Let's turn the lights down, I don't wanna get too hot in here.
Yeah, I don't either.
Down. I can turn them off. Let me turn the lights off.
Okay.
I guess. So we can,
Just let me know if you guys trouble seeing them.
I mean, the lights that are just
That's fine.
in the
I think
way,
we
that
can
would,
see.
maybe,
Yeah, I can
maybe we need to
see it.
spin them off, but.
that actually respects.
yeah, we can see the screen there, so it all works out.
Okay, so it's that time of the year again, I'm going over the budget, so, we're going to, do just a broad overview, for revenues. We're looking at, about $5.6 million in revenues, which let me scroll down on the screen. Revenues are pretty much, they are what they are, there's not much wiggle room you can do. The only thing you can really, adjust is maintenance tax collections, which we'll get into in a little bit. And then going over the expenses, I've been in contact with other consultants for the past couple of weeks, getting ideas on what expected expenditures are going to be for next fiscal year. And we're looking at about $7.3 million, which puts us at a net deficit of $1.7 million. I have had a couple of changes since I made this report today. So with a few changes that Lisa gave me, we're looking at about $1.5 million in deficit.
Let me ask a quick question, so this list over here, this one, if you all can see, is this included in here?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so, I don't know if we wanna start here, but Lisa and I just looked at it quickly before the meeting started. And, Lauren, we may want some input from you, but if we could just go down this real quick. I think some of these could be included in the bond money.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna ask, can the, Luther Chance grading infield, outfield transition, so it's basically for the baseball field over there, can bond money be used for that?
I'm gonna have to confer with your engineer and bond council.
Okay.
It's
It's part of the park, it's part of Tomlinson Park.
I think that was already clarified, no
I
ball golf
I
and
don't
no
think
pool.
any,
It was golf.
yeah, I was
I don't think it
gonna
was
say,
baseball.
but
It was
my,
pools and golf. Okay,
my first inclination would be probably not, but
okay,
I will check on
okay,
that.
cause I know it was just pools and golf, there was no mention of baseball in that, so, what I would like to do then, Lauren, if you're gonna check on that, is the Luther Chance grading, the labor install controllers and Tomlinson, basically is part of the irrigation for all of the parks. And playground mulch installation at 2 of the, playgrounds, landscape upgrades at one of the parks. So if you could check on those to see if those could be part of the bond money, that would make a significant dent in this amount. Going from there, there is a fire break complete entire creek by the end of 2025. It's $140,000. Given the huge deficit we have here, I would suggest that we really knock that down to just $40,000.
Wait, slow down, where are we at?
It's fire break maintenance for
Oh, I see,
fire break, complete entire creek area by end of 2025.
that's 140, so you're saying break it down to
240.
40,000.
Mm-hmm. And then for storm damage contingency, I mean, I know that's a maybe so, maybe no. I would say let's knock that down to maybe 75,000.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess, good question, do we want, I mean, I guess if we're in deficit, does it make any sense to budget a contingency.
Right,
When we're already in deficit anyway, it seems silly to put yourself additionally in deficit for that purpose, I think. I'd rather just amend the budget if we have to.
Okay, so you're
That's
saying
fine.
knock the whole 300,000?
Yeah, I know, because we don't plan to spend this, so
Yes.
Yeah.
if we're already in deficit, we're artificially 300,000 in deficit right
Yeah.
there.
Okay, so let's knock that 300, and are you making notes?
Oh, I'm making adjustments.
Oh, perfect, okay,
And I
I get it.
didn't fill water barrels out.
Yeah, oh, that was my other one, I said, let's just scratch that.
Yeah, so you're
Okay.
right.
Water bottles, barrels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the pergola, that can wait.
Which pergola is that?
That's the one down here by the Chanceville.
Okay,
Yeah, that
I
could,
think that's definitely a
Top
way.
behind
It's not that old.
yeah.
I do, Director Roberts, and I know you know a little bit more about this, the MS4, the 50,000, I don't know if there's some things that we have to do right now with MS4. I do know, remember when we've cleaned up all the cattails and stuff, it's been a while, and in my walks, today I was looking at it, I'm like, I know that needs cleaning, Lisa, can we get a quote from, who's it?
Well, there's a different company that we use, not
The Round
Priority. It's a company that actually probably is a little bit more cost effective.
The Round Rock Group, I think? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, if we could get a quote from them, and I guess just, what do we legally need to do with MS4?
I think it's to prevent flooding. So a lot of the areas that are like fallen trees, we have a requirement to get them out of there. And I think cleaning out the inlets.
Yeah,
storm
yeah.
So why don't we just do 30,000 on the MS4, and for what we call fire break, go ahead and take that down to just 30,000, and if we need to, we can utilize that money in both of the MS4 and hold on fire break, unless we have a resident that calls that needs something
Case
detrimental.
by case.
Yeah,
I mean,
Okay, did you get that?
So we switched MS4 to 30,000 and fire break to 30,000, is that
Yeah,
the
so it's
second from the
60.
top on the?
Okay, so what is that with those
so we
changes?
probably just need to slow down just a tad.
sure,
Tyler's trying.
sorry.
yeah, I'd like to roll back through everything we just changed on this, cause like,
Yeah, I got confused on which fire break we were on.
And I think the volleyball replenishment can wait.
100%.
I personally think Luther Chance can wait too, if it's not included in the box.
Yeah, Lisa brought up a good point, because we talked about that too, and she said if we wanna consider renting that out, you know, think about, like, we're renting out the garden spaces, you know, we rent out the pavilion. If we rented out the Luther Chance, we probably do need to make sure it's not a safety issue and do that.
I'm glad that you mentioned it, also because even tidal waves, they bring in kids that are out of district that have to pay a fee.
Yeah.
And we have a ton of kids that come out of district that are using Chanceville, and you might only have one resident that actually lives here. And so I think it would benefit and offset the cost of any need for Chanceville at all to be paid for by those ball club members.
I think they would take the maintenance side of the road
100%
and a
off
lot
of it.
different.
I think it
We're
would
not talking about a
definitely-
crazy amount, we're not trying to deter them from renting, we just.
Right.
But I think that they need to start, we
Being
need
a little
to
bit
find a different way to, yes.
cause they're not paying anything to the residents, right? Okay.
And we'd have a really class A deal for them.
If we did that, Vern, sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm going to solutioning, that will be a little trickier than the tidal waves in terms of figuring out how many there are, but we can still work on it.
Actually,
Well, I think
Okay.
most of these teams, well, I think most of these teams, if I recall correctly, are like, they're selecting other teams, so these kids are already paying, right? And so we can just simply tell the coach, like, give us a list of out-of-district
Well,
kids,
that's what I've
here's your
already
cost per
Oh,
kid.
They have to.
I mean,
Never mind.
my point is that we can leave it to the coach to tell us, right, and just ask him to
I've been
provide
doing
the
that.
address.
Yeah, no, I meant just because the tidal waves, they have to subscribe for the year, and it's
Yeah.
part of the fixed
Yeah.
cost, they don't swim anywhere else.
Right,
But you already got it, so great,
yeah,
excellent.
yeah.
Yeah, cause they sign waivers,
I
and then
think
she has a list of them.
How
I
much are
think we
we
could-
charging them per kid out of district, are we gonna charge, per kid out of district?
Tidal waves is 50, family, it's changed a couple times, so I can't, don't quote me, but it's something like that.
Yeah, cause it was per child, but then like if you had 3 or 4 kids, that would be like $200.
Yeah,
So,
The
Yeah,
select
it's max
teams
of
might
three-
be
it's
50,
max
the
of
ones
three
that aren't
children, I
select.
remember that for sure.
that's right,
yeah.
And I think it's 25.
I think it's
per-
25, I think that's right, I think it's
25?
25 a kid, up to 3 kids.
Okay, we might have to have a sliding scale, cause if they're like enrolled in a league, like if they're like actually like from like Leander or Cedar Park Youth League, right, and they're not a real select team, they won't eat 50 a kid, but if they're like a select, like travel ball team, 50 will look like a bargain to them.
Yes.
Because we're dedicated practice space.
So we can have more discussion on that later, but I think that's good.
If we decide that, just to even discuss it, we should remove the 10,000 for
Okay.
Chance Field and let us raise those funds and then actually take care of that maintenance through them. I think we could do that in less than 6 months.
Maybe we can bring that back some other item when they,
100%.
to get the fee structure and then the appropriation for it, okay?
I'd like to also look at a per team per evening as opposed to per kid, because they may only have one practice here.
That's what I was thinking.
Or they might use it every other day, but let's base it on a usage, not necessarily the kids, but we'll just consider that when we.
Or multiple models.
Lisa, how do they do it? Don't they normally, there's a big sign up and don't they usually do like once a week? Like they can't do more than so many.
That's
Right.
correct. It's a
Yeah.
first come, first serve. What they're looking for more is once a week, but a premium time.
Right.
The time
Yeah.
slot is the
Because it's
kicker.
theirs, and nobody else can come in and
Exactly.
take the
Yep.
field, they have reserved it.
But to
There's a
Director-
shortage of practice fields as part of the area.
Yeah, but to Director Young's point, if they just want it for one night because their other space is unavailable for some reason, I don't wanna charge them 25 a kid.
Yeah.
To use it one time.
A monthly some type of fee to that effect, or a weekly fee, something to that
Yeah,
effect.
something, yeah.
Yep.
So Lisa, you said you wanted to scratch 10,000 for
The Luther Chance grading.
Okay.
Hey, actually, I'm gonna pause for a second. Deputy Lovato, I know your sons play baseball.
Mhm.
Do you know about, like, do you guys have to rent places and is this anywhere, like, what you all have to do?
No,
Consider?
so, the majority of us, or our school, for, they're at Leander Little League, is we get with Leander ISD and we use their fields, so my son, Samuel, he practices at Gym Plain, my other son, AJ, he practices at Winkley.
Okay.
No, I was saying, yeah, I was saying, because my oldest, because Leander does that, they try to hook the teams up with a dedicated field, and I was like, now CPYL, our kids played there before, doesn't, but Leander does, I was saying, if you're, some teams in Leander look, I know, for extra practice space, right? And so that was, they went on the hunt of like, whether reserving something like this or finding a different park, right?
But I will have to say that most teams might be more apt to paying a small fee to make sure that they can practice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because last year, because of the drought, the schools were like, you can't use our school
Yeah.
because it's messing up our grass
Yeah.
even more than it already is. So,
And the select teams actually have somewhere that they pay, because my grandson is on select, so they didn't have to go chase the field down.
Yeah, but
Well-
there is a shortage on fields.
Well, I was saying, some of this, I noticed, my son's played against people, he was on select, that would practice here. And so when I was with the select teams, is usually they've got someplace they've tracked down, but if they wanna add more practice, because the kicker is most places say, oh, you get a day of practice, right? If you only do 2 fielding days, that's where you run into the problem, almost everybody everywhere is like, no, I can accommodate 1.
Okay.
There's plenty of batting cages, there's not enough places to field, so.
yeah.
Because my
Actually,
grandson's
that we removed
they
about
have their own field.
455 off.
Yeah, they have more than one day.
Their team owner.
We had.
Okay.
Yeah, they can practice anything they want.
So, I know we, my fault, we jumped all over the place.
Do you wanna
So
start from
let's
the
start
top?
from the top, yeah. So the contract services, I don't think that there's, I mean, it's gone up.
May I ask you a question?
Mhm.
360 seems awfully low. Is that actually the current contract
Mhm.
price, or is that?
Well, I think the 42 is the entire contract. I think, I'm not
Oh, there
entirely
you
sure,
go, okay.
but I think, that's just the base.
Because it had, okay. Oh, I'm confused.
So 482 is the current,
They're
Right, right.
online with us, if you guys wanna pull them on Zoom, if you have any questions, you're welcome to do that as well.
okay. Yeah, why don't, since they're online, go ahead and pull, is it Trip? Hey, Trip. Maybe not.
There we go. Sorry about that. I had to find the mute button.
Hey
yeah.
there, so hopefully you've heard the discussion so far. So is the 482 your current contract amount?
482 is with a 3% increase from last year, and it includes the same as everything we did this year.
Okay, great.
Makes sense.
So now we're gonna go down the contract add-on services. I'm just gonna read them out and,
Well, what about this one though, right here?
Well, can we ask him real quick,
70,000,
On the
that's for fire break
the
clearing.
fire break, can we ask him about that?
yeah, so Lisa's just asking me. So this trail fire break clearing 700 hours is 70,000. That's
Yes.
part of contract.
Yes, that's what we did this year. We just had a pool of those 700 hours, and when we were directed to go do certain items, it pulled from that. A lot of it was fire break, some of it was fire break behind certain homes.
Is it gonna be?
So, go ahead, sir.
No, please.
So it really wasn't part of the contract, it was just the services that you provided as addendum to the request by the board? It's not
Yeah, I think.
It was an add-on last year.
So it's just an add-on for
It was
the,
billed- It was
Did you
billed
use
through monthly.
Okay, did you use all 700 hours? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, we did. Plus an additional week you guys approved last, I think it was last meeting, or 2 meetings ago, yeah.
all right,
I have a quick question for Trip. Trip, this is Robert. Around this time last year, I had requested that you keep detailed data on what money is going to where. Would it be possible for you in the next week or two to get us that information so that we could calculate that into our decisions for what to spend on where?
Like what additional, can you give us an example?
Which parks, how much time he spends on right of way, how much time, the different parks, different, tree trimming and fire break, just break that stuff down for us so that we know where that's going.
Yeah, we can estimate that. I mean, we've got a pretty good idea. We've tracked some of it but we've got it all in our system, so it's.
Okay, great.
I had to get a quick pull-up actually, if that's all right. Trip, on the fire break work, how do you feel about what we got left to be done? Because I know we kind of asked them to prioritize the worst parts of the creek and the neighborhood. Of the parts remaining, I mean, how much heartburn do they give you on what's left?
There's some areas.
In terms of work and in terms of like overgrowth.
Certain areas definitely a lot more. I mean, there's areas along, drawing a blank, just Spotted Eagle, drawing a blank on the road. But along there that is very, very narrow, very dense, and very slow. I say narrow because it's slow, and it's just gonna be a lot of handwork in those areas. There's not much room for buffer there.
Okay, would you mind sending something to us for the next couple weeks, we get through this process to just have an idea of that worst area, cause that's, I think, if there's anything in the budget that we need to talk about the cost for that and what we would wanna do, if anything, we may have to pin some of this stuff, but I think knowing what needs to be done where would be helpful.
Are you talking about the Claudia Hutton area?
No, this is along English River.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking
It's
about.
real narrow with the creek.
Yeah, it does. I crawled over there recently.
Thank you, Trip.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, I think, are we good? I think right now we're gonna keep that 70,000 in, because we're moving some of it down here.
I was actually saying, if Trip can get back to us, I would propose, when he gets back to us on the parts that are worse, maybe we pinned all the, fire break work until we loop back with Trip on the cost of the areas that are absolutely worst, and try to focus there. So we can have a little more focused cost on things that really should be done, and then we can have potential come back for things that we would like to do if there's.
Can we just hold it right now then? Is that what you're saying? Okay, so
Yeah.
Trip, our next meeting, where we're really kind of need to finalize this is next Wednesday, so if you can get that information to Lisa, and Director Roberts has a question.
all right, so the additional contract tree maintenance for the disc golf, if this was last year, this year's already, so there's really no need to add any more tree trimming, so we can remove that, couldn't we? I mean, it's been done.
If we're not gonna maintain those areas or any other areas, that's all up to y'all. I would suggest, the trees needed quite a bit this year, and that some of those funds did go to other parts outside of this golf course. But I would leave, personally, I would leave it in there. Obviously, that's kind of come from my side of it, but there's plenty of work.
Just not the disc golf. We can use the tree trimming in other areas, just not the disc golf.
Yeah, there's.
And the only reason I'm asking, Trip, we're at a $1.7 million deficit.
Yeah, I
So
hear
we
that.
just have got to focus on what is necessary.
Yeah, okay,
So maybe we'll put a question mark next time.
okay. So we're gonna put a question mark next to the tree maintenance, a question mark next to Luther Chance, and a question mark next to the fire breaks, okay? Is everybody okay if we go on to the contract add-on services and start at the top?
Yes.
Okay, 4th of July mosquito treatment, I personally think that this is something that we need to do.
I thought it was already in our contract.
No, the ant treatment is, but not the July treatment, the mosquito.
That's mosquito, yeah, okay. Fire break maintenance cleared from 23-24 contract.
I'd like to pin that with our discussion about fire breaks
Yes.
next week.
Okay, got that.
Currently have 30,000 for that number.
Because we dropped it.
Dahlia's grass treatment, I don't even know if I said that right, what's that?
Dallas grass is that weed stuff that comes up, they explained that earlier, previous meeting.
So
Oh,
is
I
that,
must have missed that.
is it that necessary?
It's the ones that shoot up and then they seed really quick.
Yeah, we were
Oh,
talking
the
about,
recall
yeah,
thing.
I remember talking about the prior meeting, but I guess,
I didn't remember. the
I
name.
thought this was baked into their, I can't remember why it's not in their contract.
Well, I mean, we can't go fix everything that's gonna see.
So it hasn't been in their contract in the past, they haven't seen this actually come up the way that it has in this past year. They don't know why it has shown up, specifically a lot in Tomlinson Park. It's definitely something that if we don't take care of it this year, then, or this next coming fiscal year, then you will see them having to come back and eventually treat it. And it is one of those things that does become invasive, so.
Okay, so be a little proactive.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll keep that if everyone's okay. Landscape upgrades to 183 entrance, what are you thinking about their trip?
We'd like to just, make it not look quite as dated as it is right now. I don't, please don't take offense. There was one pretty large shrub that part of it died out, so we cut that out. So it could be, we could do a spruce up, or we could actually change the look up there.
Okay, I actually thought you guys had done something this year, because I thought it actually looked a little
I
bit
thought it
better.
was really good.
So my suggestion is that we scratch that
Okay.
for now. We can always add it in 6 months if we need to, or, so the Luther Chance grading, we've put a pin in there because we're gonna see if we can use bond money. The fire break complete entire creek, we're gonna put a pin on that. Fire break maintenance for areas cleared in 2025 4 times a year. Does that include a pin? Or is that-
So this actually should be considered as leaving it in there and
Yeah, I
probably
think
should be
so.
moved up into your contract services because you've spent the money on all of the area. This is gonna allow for them to go in.
Oh, okay.
The maintenance of it, so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think,
that's a good point.
I don't think it should be an add-on, I think this should be, added to your to your regular contract, if you will.
Perfect,
Yeah.
everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, labor to install upgraded controllers at Tomlinson, Comanche, Tonopah, and 183 entry, not to exceed 17,000. We're gonna check and see if we can use bond on that, or at least some of the sections, maybe not the 183 entry. Playground mulch, we're gonna look and see bond money. Landscape upgrades to Apache Park,
Same thing,
bond.
yeah.
Storm damage,
You suggested eliminating that?
Yeah, suggested zeroing that.
yeah, good point on that.
So is it we're gonna take out 17,000 and then take out 8,000, is that what you're saying?
We're just putting a pin in it, so you'll have an answer for us by next week, right?
I
Is that
should,
17, that
yes.
9, and that 8, if they could be used in part for bond, maybe we could then move that out of our general budget.
Okay.
Yeah. Scratching, fill the water barrels. Pergola, we're gonna scratch that. You know what, that would probably be a good Eagle Scout project. Raising and leveling irrigation valve boxes throughout the property, I actually think that's probably something we do need to do, is everyone okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, replacing broken damaged valve boxes, that's necessary. MS4,
We went to
to 30.
30,
Sorry, the 3,700 for the replacing broken, you said that is
It's okay.
necessary?
Yeah, we'll have to,
It's
yes,
an
you
okay.
gotta, you can't let those pin forever.
30,000 for this thing.
30,000 for MS.
Yes.
30.
And I think volleyball we can do with that.
Yeah, scratch volleyball for now. Identify main lines, valves, and shut-off valves throughout the property for the purpose of GIS updates, probably need to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, garden club, soil delivery 7 times a year. I actually think, I think we can scratch that because we have been paying for the last batches of soil delivery. The people that were here, myself and a couple of other gardeners all pitched in.
Okay.
So I think with their other ask, that's just something to consider, but I think that we could probably scratch that.
By the time they're composting and such, plus the mushroom blocks, I would like them to be self-sufficient, and then perhaps the general budget for the parks to be used for that on a necessary basis. So I'm in favor of scratching that, but still doing what we can.
And I don't know if you have mowing that area in your contract anymore, but they have a lawnmower and we've been mowing it, so
We can remove that.
yeah, if it's in there, I'm not sure if it is or not, Trip.
It was in there, it is in there one time a month for 8 months, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, let me be clear. It's all around the beds. It's not that big, like by the building,
Oh my God.
that kind of thing. So yeah.
Can we just add the install sod this year's budget?
And to Apache?
Yeah.
This current
Can we
budget?
just do the $1,400 for this year's budget?
We could.
Okay, so we'll move that, so it won't be on this one.
In this year's budget?
Yeah, I mean, do we have money?
Well, I mean, with the amended budget that we did last month, we were budgeting a net deficit of
Yeah.
about 650,000.
That's why I waited.
Oh, thank you. You're just the person I want to sit next to.
Actually, I think that was one that we might consider for the bond as well, because it is the park.
That's why I wanted to hold, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling those aren't gonna be included.
Which,
Install sod at Apache Park.
Add the $1,400 to the bond, see if that's bond coverage. How much bond money are we talking about?
3.4?
Okay, so we're only gonna spend about $1 million.
A million.
10 million, not too much.
Yeah.
Oh, you need one?
Okay, so what's the new number?
I lost count there somewhere. I had it at removing 455, but then we just, not including the bond stuff, but it went down by a lot, so I think it's probably closer to 550.
Great.
David's
So
actually
you have,
calculating it.
400 what?
I think
He's getting
David's doing
ready
the
to, he's
math.
getting ready to put the numbers in.
Okay.
Yeah, we can take it off.
I like your math. Keep
Right.
going.
I just ballparked it at maybe 525 or so. I counted it to 550, or 450, but we removed a lot more
Okay.
on that pass, so.
So what do you got? What's the big number over there?
So right now, for landscape, I have 662,000, which the total budget is at just about $1 million.
Oh.
Well, I
Yeah,
like David's number better.
Yes.
Creative accounting.
Yeah, exactly. I continue knocked about a solid, what?
About $700,000 or about a little less than $600,000 got knocked off.
Right, yeah, so.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah, we got a lot off.
Well, oh, so you're saying the total deficit's 1 million?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's the other one was
So
one.
we just need to,
Okay, all right. Thank
Well, I
you.
mean,
we have other wish
in
lists.
10 minutes, we took off
700.
percentage wise, and what is that,
A
like?
fairly big jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good percentage.
I'll double crown.
But some of it's contingent.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, and that's what we're gonna have to come back next week. Okay, sure, thank you very much. Do you all think the trip needs to stay on? I think you can just join us next week, but I think,
I think
Okay.
that's probably true.
Yeah, I think that's correct. Thanks, Trip.
enjoy your evening trip.
Thank you, you too.
And Clint. Okay,
Bye.
so, where do you guys wanna go next? Do you wanna do pools?
Let's do pools.
Okay,
Do we have a wish list? for
With
them?
pools, we
It's
actually
this
have the list that Mark sent, and then I have a few items for the pools as well that I can go over with you guys, but as you can see with the Excel spreadsheet that Mark sent over, you do have actually a deficit that he, well, actually
wow.
gained.
Yes.
Oh, it's on here, sorry.
So that's.
So
that's
last year it came in at 715,000, and this year, it's a difference of 185,000 less.
With more chemicals and stuff.
With more chemicals, and that's for the
Yeah.
pricing, and he's looking at possibly even in 2026, bringing back something that will obviously save you guys more money, so he's working on that now.
Okay.
Now, with that being said, those are his numbers. You'll also see, on the budget sheet, I sent in to Tyler, if you all decide, and Mark, I think we have Mark online as well. So I did reach out to, a slide company just to see for the restoration for Tomlinson Pool. We have a couple of options. We can either hold on painting the outside of the slides and have Mark go in and just do the, caulking on the inside of the slides, as well as doing the resurfacing on the inside of the slides at a fraction of the $120,000 cost.
Where is,
Lisa, I thought we had those slides painted this year.
No, you did
I thought
not.
there was a company that took them down and painted.
No.
I thought we talked about it. I don't think we approved.
what they did was they did the,
They were looking for the
everybody
slides,
is-
the GL with the slides.
yes, the 120.
It's on, it's the very bottom, it's on 17,913.
it was
One
probably.
twenties, including some other things.
What was that?
17,913.
Yeah, the very bottom.
We have Mark on the line?
Hey, Mark. We can't hear you.
Sorry, there I am. There I am. Okay, so yes, you redid the tower for the slide, so, and painted all of the poles.
Sorry, Mark, keep going.
Okay,
That's all I.
that's right. Yeah, this is weird on so you repainted a lot of the poles and the bases for the slide and redid the tower, but you have not done the outside of the slide or the inside. We can certainly caulk and wax the slides for you. That's something, within our realm of things we can do. But, the painting of the outside, maintaining that part of it is not something that my company is able to provide.
So I have a question, I'm glad you mentioned that, because in my CRS moment, which is, can't remember shit, sorry, but, was that when I was at the pool, I was like, I thought we painted those slides, why do they look like this? So I'm happy to hear it was just the tower. So what is your guess on the life expectancy of those slides?
I truly don't know the answer to that. The slides will last a long time, but you will have to repaint them probably every 5 to 10 years is my guess on that. It has to do with the seal coating, and just how much splash over and direct sun it has.
Are we at 5 years on that slide? I know it's about 5.
Easy.
Oh, yeah.
Easy, probably over.
Mark, this is Lisa. Can you tell me ball figure, do you have just a rough estimate on what you think just taking care of the inside of the slide, which is actually what would be required by TML for our next inspection in 2025? They're asking for some electrical maintenance just to make sure that we actually do have a grounding wire, which we already do have. What would it cost to be able just to get the inside of the slide taken care of and not focusing on the outside of it?
It would be a time and material thing. My guess would be between 5,000 and 7,500.
Thank you.
And
So
so,
we could remove 120,000, or roughly, I would say 110,000 off of that one line item and save us a little bit more.
does that include the caulk and the wax, or is that?
Yes.
Okay, so
Time
caulk,
and
wax,
material.
and the electrical stuff,
Yes.
time and material, about 7,500.
If we left 10 in there, just because we have to spend probably less than $1,500 on the actual inspection itself. So if we included all of that, that's where we would be at,
75.
about 10,000.
Oh, 10,000, I'm sorry. My brain,
So
okay.
that,
it's
that was to satisfy TML's inspection?
That's correct.
So that would be the electrical as well?
Yes, that's
So we
correct.
were talking 10,000?
Yes.
Okay.
So we could go from 120 down to 10,000.
Just so you know, the pool opened up 8 years ago, 8.5 years ago.
Did it?
Mhm.
Well, we just,
Does not
Pool
seem
and
that
the
long.
slides.
The pool, it was
Yeah,
one
they
big
all-
project, we remodeled everything.
So that was, it was actually, on here, it's 158.
Yes, because it was
But he
120
just
plus a
changed
couple
it.
of other projects. I
Oh.
changed the
Yes, so
120.
the other couple of projects that he's mentioning, and these, we have Mark on the line, so these are the other items that he asked. At the guard shack itself,
which one?
the
Tomlinson?
Tomlinson guard shack, at Apache, we have a mini split in there, at the Tomlinson one, we do not, it is hot.
He has something in there.
He has been adding a machine in there that doesn't actually bring down the necessary temperature, but it does give them a little bit of relief.
So what are you talking cost-wise?
Mini split at the most expensive is 7,000. We could go medium and that would run roughly about 5,000. So we have a good, better, best quote from Blue Ribbon. And I went with the highest one at a 5-star because it gives you more warranty, but if you'd like, we could do a middle, quote, which would take you to about 5.
What about the electrical?
Electrical's already there because we did all the upgrades, and so when they come in, they actually do the entire install with warranty, and so that gives you that opportunity to be able to.
So 5,000, because it's such a small area.
That's correct, and then you also have out of the pump house, because we do have the new, pumps that are in there, and it is extremely hot. Mark is recommending that we also add mini splits in there, but to suffice that area, we need 2. Good, better, best, the most it comes in at a 10,000. We could do a medium, and I think that comes in at roughly 7,000. And again, the reason I went to best is because you're getting a longer warranty. And so these mini splits have in the past burned out, but in this case, they're covered at 100%.
What do y'all think?
I think that's necessary.
I have just a quick question. So the 7,000 for the pump room, is that 14,000 or is it
It's
7,000?
10. The pump room is 10.
Because 2 5s,
Oh, okay.
is that right?
Total is 10,567 for all of it.
Okay,
With
Director,
100% warranty, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I was just gonna go around the room. Director Young, do you have any questions on this?
No question.
You following it? Okay. Director Shoemaker, do you have any questions?
No, none of this. No, I'm just thinking we need to get the AC in there to keep the
Yeah.
All the other work coming undone from the heat.
Okay, Director Roberts, anything else on you?
I mean,
You already answered your question? Okay, I don't either, so are we good on pools or?
No, we got more.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
No, you're fine.
So a couple of things that we had brought to y'all's attention in other meetings. We had looked at roughly just spending, less than, I think it was $5,000 or $7,000 on some shelving for the chemicals because we don't have a place for them. David Gray brought up a good point that it would probably benefit us more to actually have a storage shed. A storage shed at minimum would be roughly about 10,000, having it set and everything. And Mark and I discussed it, and he felt like it would be a better benefit for them to be able to keep inventory appropriately, and to be able to deliver the inventory and have that installed. So
where would
roughly
the
about,
shed go?
so that's the other thing. Right here at the end of Tumlinson where the pump room is at, we have a wooden fenced-in area. We would actually have to spend another $7,000 on adding additional fencing to put the shed inside of the fenced area.
Because I
And it
thought we
would go
were
at-
under cover.
It would go underneath, well, with the shed, it wouldn't need a cover because it would already have the.
Well, we definitely have to enclose the actual other end to some extent.
Yeah.
I think it was David Gray's recommendation not to
It
just do a
was.
cover, just to do a shed.
Yeah.
And I know I'm sure you walked back there with me before, I mean, chemicals are just exposed to daylight, exposed to everything, and
It's hot.
we need to do it the right way, so are you saying that we add 17,000?
That's an additional 17,000 to actually have both of those done.
Is that currently in the items up here?
And yes, I did send this information over to Tyler, so that information is in there, but y'all are asking for pools, and this is what's driving those numbers.
Okay,
Is that
gotcha,
one,
gotcha.
at Tomlinson?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
So my question is this, can that be done in this year's budget since we already discussed it?
we are at a
Right,
deficit, we have no money left, so
No.
that's why I haven't done anything else, I've put a pause and.
That's seriously.
Mhm.
The 17, so the shelf that we were thinking of was outside shelf?
Yes,
Okay.
with just a canopy over it,
Keep draining. money.
Which really would,
benefit the way that we're looking for it too.
okay, what else?
Okay, so, and then the last item that I have, is something that we had discussed. We could, re-entertain the Sundeck, proposal for just doing the non-slip resistant on the backside where the pools are at, where the slide area is at, where they're exiting and entering the pool. You all mentioned that would it be more beneficial for us to do the entire deck because it obviously all around could be a possible slip hazard. That entire deck comes out to $37,000. That is not part of this up here already.
Okay.
You know, I don't really see, I've been there a lot, and it's really not that slippery, but
It's
I'm just
not,
curious why it's slippery over in that one section, because it's all the same material.
Mark has been, adding some matting, and so that helped us get through this year.
let's
So we
just do
could,
it again.
we could definitely, like I said, just do the backside, with the proposal that we had received from Sunday before.
And how much was that?
Yeah,
I'll have to go back and read it.
Is it part of the numbers that are already in there?
No,
yeah, because I've been over there, this is my first year to really be over there a lot, and I have no slip issues. But Mark, let me ask you a question. Are there injuries that are happening on the area that's supposedly slick?
The only time we've ever had, we haven't had any injuries, but we have had people fall down and it's all been right there by the slide. And I think it's from years past where we've had a lot of, y'all may have had a lot of water leaking onto that area and wearing out the cement to where it's smoothed out. So that particular area right there around the slide, you'll notice we have two mats from Sam's there. They're just, front entry mats or whatever. We put those there in the real slick spots, and since then, we haven't had anybody fall or anything. It's a combination of it being a little bit slick and also people being excited to get on the slides and running when they're not supposed to be. So it's kind of a combination of both of that. It's really that one area that makes a difference. I would look at Sundeck, if not now, in the future, just because it does help to cool the decking as well. It's not gonna bring it down to a comfortable temperature all the time, but it's definitely a lot more comfortable than what it is right now on the direct side. Because it does create air pockets in there and allows it to cool off a lot more.
So you're talking just a, 5x5 area?
so the area that they were looking for, it's just basically from the two, staircases coming out of the pool from the slided area onto the back, comes out to $6,857.
It's not that much, but we've got mats that are working right now, can we just not add that yet, and then maybe
Let's make that a little.
on our final next week, maybe try to add that in.
Yeah, I agree.
So what I
It's really
have,
not a crazy amount.
the 158 that was in there, I show 44, 17 for the mini splits, 17 for the shed, and 10 for the caulk wax, electrical maintenance and inspection.
Total 158?
It was 158, and now I show 44.
44, you went backwards instead of adding?
Was that in addition to the 158?
Yeah.
Was it?
No, the 158
Well, look at
was-
this here, what he's got, he's got.
My mess.
All of these items that I'm explaining, besides Sundeck is the only thing that
Right.
that 37,000 that was not in there, I didn't have that number for Tyler. Everything else that I've discussed is already in these numbers.
Right, so
Okay.
we had 158 for everything that was pools except Mark, right? And so we moved the 120 down to 10, just to do the caulk wax and the electrical maintenance and inspection, so that's 10. And then we said 17 for the guard shack and the pump room mini splits. And then we had 17 for the shed for chemicals plus the fencing.
I think it's 19 actually, well, it shows on there is 19.
Right, I don't have the email that you sent me, but I have a $10,000 item and a $9,000 item.
So 46 then. So I show that we reduced the 158 that was in there, that's right there for pools. 158 is now 46.
And there's 1,500 in there for something.
How-
Was it 1,500, Lisa?
We could have done that.
I don't know, are we reducing anything?
Yeah,
Well,
we
we
reduced
did
the
it by
Tomlinson pool project by 110,000.
Right,
Okay.
110,000.
Okay.
So we took out the complete remodel of the slide, we took out the exterior painting of that, and moved it over to just the interior that we can handle for you.
I'm following you on that.
Am I wrong?
No, you're
No,
right.
you're right,
You have
I think
48,
the
yeah.
big rounding thing is it's you did 1,500 or 1,700 for the 7,000 and the 10,000, where it's really 7,138 and
Oh.
10,556.
Okay.
Yeah, I think,
I think also Lisa said the 9,000 for the fence, I think in her telling it was 7,000, is it almost 7,000?
We should leave it at the 9, I'm sorry.
Okay, no,
It was 9.
I just wanna make sure, cause I
Thank
know y'all working on it, make sure,
Yes.
but I guess one last, what is that 1,500 in there for? I can
That's gonna be for your TML inspection.
Thank you, okay, that's what I wanna make sure.
Alright, okay, anything else under pools?
Nothing else under pools, that's all I have.
Anybody, I'm gonna go around the room one more time, Director Shoemaker, anything?
No.
Director Roberts? Director Johnson?
Yes, real quick. So, pool maintenance, and then, so we have the addition of the chemicals because now Mark's company is in charge of that. The pool cleaning is a little bit more, that's fine. The lifeguards, can we talk through what that reduction is looking like what that means?
Sure, Mark?
I just,
The 305 is the exact same as it was this year. That's what we're on budget to do. That's what the contract is. I don't anticipate charging you any additional for that. I believe you may have had more in there from the previous company, possibly
That's right.
including some of the chemicals or something or maintenance in that line item. But the actual lifeguarding itself is the 305.
thank you, sir. And the total then speaks for itself. Thank you.
Okay, Director Young?
No comments.
Okay, I do not have any either. So, Mark, I think we're good, thank you so much. You will be able to join us next week, correct? Either
Next, yeah, what day next week is it?
it's Wednesday at 5:30.
Unfortunately, I have another meeting at the same time.
Okay,
But I can definitely meet anytime, any other day I can help out or have a committee meeting, answer questions for
Lisa
you.
can reach out too if she has any questions, but I think we're pretty good here, Director Roberts.
So I hear a lot about Tomlinson, I didn't hear anything about Apache and the heaters, and they all
We
just replaced them.
we went entirely through Apache, everything is great out there.
Okay, I just wanted to make
Replace the
sure.
motor.
Yeah,
Okay,
everything is good.
I mean, one day we're gonna have to do it.
So,
But that's probably what we're over this year, is we added the Apache stuff in to get it taken care of.
yeah,
Okay, all right, we're gonna move on then. Mark, thank you so much and have a good evening.
thank you, Mark.
Okay, so where do we go from here? Somebody help.
We do have Ben with operations online, is Ben with us? And we wanna go through his
Yeah, let's work
numbers.
through Ben's stuff, if you
Okay.
would, please.
Hi, Ben.
And what?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, thank you.
We're still on the front page.
Okay, so walk us through your numbers.
Can you tell us where we're at?
Meter replacement, I think is his first one.
Oh, meter replacement,
Is
okay.
that correct? Meter, your first one's meter replacement?
And then the top of the next page. Like
Okay.
there's a handful, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so meter replacement, you're suggesting 30,000.
Correct. I would like to use the same company we used, the acoustic leak detection that swapped out 150 earlier this year. And since we're kind of behind the 8 ball, I'd like to try to get 300 swapped out during the 2024 and 2025 year.
So you're projecting for 2024, 25, 200?
300.
300?
300 meters.
Okay, and that's at what, 30,000?
Mm-hmm. And those are the highest use ones, I believe, the older ones. Okay, what else do you have?
Oh, can I ask a quick question? So Ben, on the replacements of the existing ones that you've done so far, has there been any determination of the malfunctioning? I mean, have we lost revenue because of those aging ones? I mean, is there any way for you to give us some clarity on what the gain is?
So are you referring to the old, not the ones that we switched out already, but the older ones that are still have not been switched out? Are you referring to those?
No, the ones that we just replaced, we switched out. Did you have any measurements or what am I trying to say?
What have we learned since replacing those?
Yeah, what do we cost saved?
Those meters are brand new, which means they should be and are functioning 100% capacity, which means we're getting our revenue or our full revenue from them. Unlike some of the older meters where they're operating at maybe 89 or 88%, which means we're losing small, fractional amounts of revenue on the older meters. But as for the new ones, they're operating good.
So you are keeping the metrics on the actual change and the differences when we're the old ones versus the new ones? I mean, I just want to kind of track that.
Well, I'm sure you could look at your records. I mean, every resident can look at all their.
If they got, yeah.
Well, you look at your bills.
The Crossroads, Jen, did you pull up actually for the next meeting? Did you bring, what the change, I mean, I guess, how, he's only been it for a couple of months, but did you bring the change in billing aggregated for those slot places that have new meters? I'd like to see the change.
The change, it would be very, very minimal. Like, for example, we have not been tracking the new meters because the new meters are graded at 100%. But the previous survey that I brought to y'all, I think it was in the October meeting of last year, I had a spreadsheet of, we shock tested 20 meters in the district, and a lot of them were operating at 88, 89, and 90% capacity instead of 100% capacity. And that was just, a small sample size of the entire neighborhood when it comes to the old meters. And that's why we did that.
Well, I guess, Ben, the question I'm posing to you is, I don't expect you're actually tracking, but you know every resident's water usage, right? So you can see what the usage tracked and billed was since they had their meter replaced, and you knew what it was prior, and we should be able, it won't show a lot of money now, because this is a very long-term thing, the margins you're talking about, but we should be able to see a notable increase in accuracy over what we were metering in the prior months with the old meters.
So so I think, Ben, for the last meters that you replaced this year, if you could give us the last, like added together, I don't think we need to see meter by meter.
No, we don't need to see meter by meter.
What were the year of income before that versus since the meter was replaced? So I think what we're trying to see is, are we getting more water from them? Like quantified though, I realize the logic of it is sound, but like, can we see, in August of 2024, they spent this much on water, but in August of 2023 with their old busted meter, it was only this much. Does that make sense?
Maybe run a few addresses for us.
Yeah, I probably couldn't do the entire 150 that were swapped out, but what I could do is I could, take 20 of those addresses and reflect their bills from last year to this year since they have new meters compared to the old meters. So I could bring just a kind of small sample size to y'all.
Yes,
Okay,
that'd be great.
That'd be excellent, thank you.
That way, it's just easier to justify the expense when we can say, look, we're more accurately charging for water, which I realize we are logically, but the quantification.
Okay, good questions, good work through. Okay, let's go on to your next item.
which one are you guys looking at? Sorry.
Maintenance and water repairs, 16,122.
16,122. Okay, so I have that at 130,000. Or Tyler, sorry, that's, I don't know if that's the number I'm seeing. Is that 179?
Yeah.
179.9.
Yes.
Okay. I think I'm on defense for Blockhouse, and when I say I'm on defense is because we've only had 1/6 of the neighborhood bored through, and we're going to be seeing those new boring contracts. The AT&T fiber people come in the neighborhood, and it's gonna happen. We have to almost just accept that it's gonna happen. They're gonna hit wastewater lines, which is gonna cost the district money. So I'm trying to create, kind of insulate us, for the worst possible case scenario, which is what I'm basing off of how much they've already damaged in total from previous year, which is $53,000 in total, and we've only collected, 16,000 of that. The 36,000 is still under that claim for the insurance that still has not been decided. So the reason that is why I have that water or the maintenance repair number so high, because I'm just forecasting boring accidents.
But we will, our goal is to recover any damage brought on by AT&T, right?
Correct. I'm just, right now we have 36 that has not been recouped because they filed it under their insurance and it just has not been settled between the insurance and, the legal aspect of it.
Right.
So what's the follow-up on that?
We would have to refer to Sean on that one.
What we need to keep in mind is that if they happen to hit a line, which the conservative number that Ben is giving you all is that you can only charge them for the portion that they hit. If it's galvanized and it splits further down, they're not gonna pay for the entire. So that's why he's looking at this number. You will recoup some.
Have we experienced that?
Not yet, but you're 40+ years in, and the last thing you want is to not have. So.
And quite honestly, they've done some of the newer sections, so when they get to your section, you may say that.
Well, we do have polybutylene replacements, so we're not as old as a lot of people think, but what I am concerned about is this. I don't, and I think we need to get with legal on this down the road if it does experience it. There has to be enough evidence to show them they caused that split. And that's where my legal little mind goes, no, they caused it. And so, but that's a fight in the court if we have to.
So just budgeting wise, if you guys are feeling heartburn from it and we need to lower that price, just keep in mind, that was the perspective and reasoning why he went to that 179.
Well, I guess, I can live with this isn't a deficit budget, because it's actually a contingency rate that might come, so it'd be beneficial to have it already budgeted right. But we're not going, unless something happens, we're not expending that, was it the 32,400 in there, Lisa, in the spreadsheet? So I can live with leaving it in, because we're not planning to expend it, so if we get to the end of the year, we're 32,400 over, it's net zero. But I would like to, I'm with them on recovering from AT&T, but this one may be beneficial to have the money budgeted, so you don't actually have to pay that.
But this isn't just for the AT&T, this is for other expenses as well,
You
correct?
could,
Okay.
yes.
Well,
So that makes sense, Dave.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hate the idea of budgeting for
Well,
their damage. I know.
Well, and then.
Well, the other problem we're gonna have is, it's easier to come back and if you have a storm, we're gonna have a meeting, have a contingency discussion about budgeting.
I know.
But if there's a water issue, I think we need to make sure there's
Okay.
money available for Lisa to spend under her.
I'm good with the logic
It
of
is,
it.
it's 10 till 7, so I wanna kind of, tonight is kind of just informational, going through this, and we can really drill down on some stuff next week, okay? Okay, so what's your next item? Leak detection, you got 11,000?
Yeah, I have 11,000, and I have a quote from James Sheely, who, he's ready to be triggered at any time, but at the same time, our water loss has been trending low, so I don't think we need him, as of right now, but I think it would be smart to just budget his price of 11,000 for a district-wide survey, if needed.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to go through this fast. I'm not trying to push us, I'm just trying to keep us going. Lead and copper analysis, we know that that's pretty much a fix. Operations wastewater 153.
Went down.
That's fine. Purchase wastewater service, that's fine. Maintenance and repairs wastewater, It's 128, it's less than what we had.
Is that the
budgeted.
ground storage tank in there?
No, we don't have that in here this year, and we all know that we need to do it, David Gray didn't suggest it. So, okay, laboratory expense, fine, lift station, fine, I'm going down, so I think that's all of your stuff, pretty much. So,
Yes, it was just that, yeah.
do you have anything else?
I just threw in a quote on the email, just, God forbid if something happens to one of our pumps in the booster station, or in the pump house. I have a quote from PSI, who we've normally is a vendor for Blockhouse for the past 6, 7, 8, 9 years. It's a quote for $51,000. So I have that, and that's just like an emergency, but I threw that number out there just in case we need it.
Is that just for one pump?
That's just for one, and we have 4 in there, and that's just an emergency.
Okay.
Okay, but do we have an emergency pump already ready, or are they easy to access if we had to?
You have 4 in there right now. If one of them goes offline, it will give you an opportunity to be able to still run off 3.
Gotcha.
As long as your
That's all
tank
I
is
need.
full, and he can go into warranty if we need to see which one is the most, if any of them are in warranty, and if not, we could even look at refurbishing. So there are some costs in there that we can definitely flex a little.
Okay, I'm gonna go around the room, Director Johnson,
I'm good.
Director Young,
No comments.
I have no comments, Director Shoemaker,
No, nothing else for you, Ben. Thank you for your.
Director Roberts?
on this.
No.
Okay, thank you, Ben, have a good evening.
Thanks, Ben.
So we don't have anyone else on the line, right?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So everything else is, we've already gone through pools. Let's talk about fence maintenance for a minute. So we have 300,000 in there, we spent almost 300 this year. What do you all think?
I think it's looking much better. I wish that it wasn't just a wood fence, but it is what it is. Because the time we spend this, we could have probably put the bond amount in it. But, Lisa?
If you go this 300,000 route, and this is, I realize we'd have to go out for bid, but for the current vendor that we've been utilizing, you're looking at roughly getting another 7,200 linear feet, because we could go in and ask any of the subcontractors to purchase wholesale. And so what they would do is, if we decided that we would go with this route, spend this amount of money, Sagamore specifically, if they were to win the bid, they have a warehouse. They could go in, purchase wholesale, keep the materials there, and as they go along, it's entirely replacing as well as restating. So you've got another 7,200 linear feet.
So that's 300,000, and we could drop off the deficit too if we had to.
If you had to.
Yeah.
And what we could
just need to
do,
recover from, we just need to recover.
what we could do is if you leave it in there, and as you mentioned, if we don't have any more fencing that we need to do, then obviously before we get to the end of the next fiscal year, you can.
Yeah, I'd really like us to consider this is a 10-year budget item. Every year we spend so much money, right?
No, we definitely need something that is gonna be for sure
You
spent
definitely
this
do.
year.
Now, right, but we spent a lot of the money that was reserved from not maintaining it for a couple of years, but I think that should have taken care of all the most broken stuff.
Didn't.
Now that we've,
Yeah.
okay, well, now that we've put some stain on it as well, we may not need to stain it again for another year or whatever, but I think we should start doing 1/10 of it every year. Plus, every, just kind of keeping up with it. So maybe we do need to have more fixed this upcoming year, but let's get this to a number that is going to be 1/10 of the fence. Every year, we do that.
But the thing with this, Lisa, roughly how much miles of fence do we have?
30,000,
30,000 feet. How much do we do this year roughly, like ballpark, like?
72.
So we did about,
Roughly about 700,
Okay.
7,000, sorry, roughly about 7,000.
And you're
Okay.
talking
So-
about another 7.
And you're talking about another
so
7.
we'd be halfway-ish done, a little bit less than halfway, we did like 7. Okay,
And that's because we also didn't have to touch any columns yet.
yes. And I was gonna say that to Richard Young's point, we may wanna make sure we at least budget for like, say, 4,000 or 5,000 feet every year, right? So we're at least kind of on a path that every 6 or so years we're cycling through, right? So you have something in here, but we might wanna see, maybe can we ask Sagamore how much like a mile, it's like saving 2,000, but just if they give us a ballpark quote of like, hey, we come in and say we need you to do 4,000, 5,000, I'm sure it's roughly gonna be a linear equation, but just so we have an idea of what we can get for various price
That's what I looked at from them. This is wholesale, and like I said, this is including your stain.
Yeah.
Whereas you would only just get this amount with just the fencing and not restaining. So you're already.
For less than 7,000?
No, for the you would be more if you did 7,200 linear feet with staining. You'd probably look at another 40 to 55,000 with staining.
Okay.
So could we live with 100,000?
If we do just 100,000, then we are only going to, we're not going to replace anything. We're going to wait for the phone call that says my fence is falling.
Or maybe we need to hold some of these residents a little accountable for their dogs ripping up boards.
Well, some of them are just worn out, I mean,
I think we had that conversation. I think one of the good practices would be is
Going forward.
going forward after you've replaced, because you do have residents that have purchased and they might have inherited a fence from a dog.
Yeah.
So,
And that'd be a policy set.
sure.
So I'm gonna suggest we keep it at 300, we go around the table. Shoemaker.
let's we can leave it here, but we'll just put a note on it for come back if we need to make adjustments. This is money that if we need to defer, we can do some defer
Sure.
and time it, right?
Okay, Director Roberts.
I agree with Director Shoemaker, because I think it's just something that, if we have to trim it, unfortunately, it is what it is. And we've done a very good job, I think, in the last
Triage.
24 months to bring it to a big improvement. So I think if it could be deferred,
Yeah, there's definitely still some hot spots
I
that
think
need
we
to take
should
care of.
at least be ready to take it off if we have to.
Okay, Director Johnson.
That is actually what I was thinking as well. If this were, my mind's gonna go if we're a few 100,000 shy of balanced.
Okay, Director Young?
Yeah, I don't like having 300,000 dedicated for that. When, as long as we keep flexible, but we're spending more than 1/10 of the fence, to reconstruct it. And I'd like the budget to get there at some point, and it's just stable and we go from there, so. We can lower that as necessary.
Okay, good. Park and Walker House maintenance is 190, so that's gone up from what we actually spent and what we budgeted. What other Walker House maintenance do we need to do?
I don't have a ball figure. The only item that I have, and I haven't even reached out to a contractor, the Walker House, needs to be re-leveled. I don't know if that's 10,000, I don't know if that's 15, but
Where is,
you can't, you have a rough time opening up this back door.
So
And it's
looking,
fallen actually on the back
so
side.
Lisa's gonna ask questions, so looking at the numbers in the spreadsheet, we got 165, 25, and 15,000, so like,
I added that 15,000, I moved it from a different line. I think it was more appropriate to be in Walker House. I don't remember what it was.
So,
okay, Lisa, never mind, I'll ask.
Sorry.
I was trying to crosswalk the numbers,
No,
what
I
you were
hear
saying, never mind.
but I do, the 25 I can speak on.
Okay.
The 25,000 actually was gonna be a conversation at the June 28th meeting about the mule. I believe that's the one, right?
the Polaris?
The Polaris, yes.
Okay, let's have that discussion.
I think I had that at 20. Did you add that one in that line item?
So, no, I put that one in park equipment.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I put 5,000
Okay.
for repair,
So then
hoping
no,
for the
I
best.
can't answer that.
Well, Tyler, do you mind telling us what happened to that line item?
So, yeah, so here, the 25,000, I have a note right here, is for
Yeah, the
Jumano electrical work.
There you go.
And then the 15,000 is the Apache parking lot resurface, which.
So we can completely remove Germano. It was just a thought. If we've done upgraded electrical and everywhere else, we have not touched that at all, but we can completely remove that.
Okay.
Okay.
And Apache parking lot versus Tumultuous?
So Apache parking lot and Tumlinson parking lot pools, both of those need to be resurfaced and restriped. Tumlinson came in at 15,000, actually 14,000 and change, and Apache came in at 8,952.50. We definitely need to do Apache, but Tumlinson does have holes in it, so it's up to you guys on how y'all want to move forward with
I
that.
think that'd be preventive maintenance, and I think it's gonna get worse if we don't do it now.
So it's already part of this 190?
It is.
Okay, and we just took what out of the 190?
25.
Okay, all right, what else makes up this 190?
Yeah, what's this 165, Tyler, can you talk a little more, is that like, what is the components going to that, cause it's above,
projected in.
The budget, it's not, we ended up spending 186 this year.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But our budgeted last time around
So
was
this
like
is,
185.
this is all of our regular park expenses, these are purchasing of security batteries and doggy pot,
Oh,
trash
okay.
bags,
Okay.
and
Okay.
all of your, bags for the maintenance that the cleaning people do, the soaps and all the stuff, this is to keep the parks clean.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Wow, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like last year, we spent I guess of the amount we spent, so we spent 165 this year on that roughly?
150.
About 152.
Is that our cleaner? Is that
Well,
our?
it shows it.
It's not just the cleaner,
Well,
it's,
if we want to do.
But it does include
program.
it does include that.
Okay.
It also makes a difference that your parks person is actually throwing the trash away. And so this is actually seeing real costs of him actually going through and doing the maintenance is the way that it's never been done before. The doggy bags actually are being consistently replaced. We keep up with the trash bags that are in those as well, so you have a doggy trash bag as well as the bags for them.
Yeah, no, they've been in good shape.
So we
use them every day.
have spent quite a bit more, and we have more receptacles throughout the district than we had before. So that's where those costs are from.
The right of way ones.
Yes, absolutely,
okay.
we've
I
added
want it, come on in.
quite a few more.
Okay, all right, so that's going down to what, 170?
It's 180 right now. For the Apache, you said it was 9,000 for Apache's resurface?
Apache is gonna be 8,952.50.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, there was a comment, I think we're talking about dropping the budget on the electrical work at the Humano.
We just did.
I would like to give a counter on that, because as long as you've got a light switch, I'm not a certified electrician, but if you got a light switch that, no matter which way you turn it, some light's gonna be on, one's gonna be off, that's not routed properly. I don't know what else, if we're at that state back there where we've got a light switch that turns on and off two different lights and it's reversed, there's deeper problems. And I think that's with Boy Scouts running around there, causing mischief, maybe jamming things and that, like, who even knows? GFCIs are up to code, whatever is going on back there, I think that we need to address that.
That might be durable enough to throw it in the bond pot.
That's exactly what Lisa is
We can
saying,
work on
so
building.
Lauren will look that up and see if we can.
And if it is a safety issue, then we probably shouldn't have the Boy Scouts out there in the meantime.
Or Girl Scouts.
Or Girl Scouts, yeah.
Or we can work on that, I mean, let's see if we can get it in the bond, because we've been
Okay.
able to work that building.
Okay.
to contain it.
I'm gonna go around the table one more time, I'll start with Director Johnson.
Sorry, this is actually on something else. I just noticed when my eyes went down to the lifeguards. So, in the proposed 2025, it actually has some of the older amounts, from Mark's budget. So like, for example, the 480 can be reduced to 305. I don't have any comments on the.
I think Tyler caught that in the.
Oh, you got
online.
it, okay. Some of the other ones are high and low too, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
I'm good.
Director Young, anything else on
Nothing else.
the topic we were talking about? Director Shoemaker
No, no.
and Director Roberts?
No.
Okay,
Park, we had a little bit more clarity on exactly what all those breakdown expenses were.
Park Administration and Cleaning. So these are all just pretty much right in line, pool cleaning, we don't need to go through all that, district signage is pretty reasonable. Legal fees, okay, so I do wanna tell you, I talked to, Sean today at length. And, he, recalled that we had asked him last year to lower his. And he said he's not suggesting lowering it, nor is he suggesting increasing it. And, some of the good things is Nancy is about 99% up to speed. And so Denise will not be, she will not be shadowing Denise anymore. So Denise's hourly rate will go away probably next month. And Nancy's hourly rate is much lower than Denise's, so we'll see a cost savings there.
Can we share the different rates?
If they're on the bill, they're on the invoices, you won't get it in your packet. And the other thing is, most of what Armbruster Brown does for us is reactionary. It's stuff we ask him to do. And for example, he's really good about Shoemaker. When we met with Nebraska Furniture Mart folks, I was the one that said, hey, let's bring Sean in, because I thought we were gonna have to talk about some things.
He's like, yeah.
And David Gray was like, I don't think you need Sean, and Sean he's like, hey, I don't think you need me, but I'm available by phone if you need to dial me in. He's done that like 2 or 3 times, so he's really good about that. The other thing we need to think about is like anytime there's an open records request, or there's a compliance A what? A legal question. That's another thing. If, this is really good, like if you do have a legal question, go to Nancy first. I found I can go to David Gray sometimes and get the answer before Sean, but I think we're really good about that. I don't think that that's been a real thing, but most of his stuff that he does is because we're creating that work for him. So let's just keep that in mind, but that number is not gonna move, okay?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean,
Okay.
It'd be nice if you would lower it up.
Well, it would be nice.
we're also asking a lot of, because that's their total for all of Armors.
We control what he spends.
Yeah,
So we
we've asked
need
him
to
do a
think
lot.
about, you know.
Well, and we've had some other things too, like we've had them do the research on the Cedar Park change in the water, like, we've had some things too that like we've had to have him do legal research.
Oh, and Nebraska
I'd love-
Furniture Mart.
I'd love for him not to, but we can't.
PEC is a great example.
But that's good, I mean, it's good advice for me because, you know, I need to think if I have a question for Armbruster Brown, can Nancy answer it instead of Sean?
Yeah, and if she
And
can't,
that'll
she'll go to
Right.
him.
She'll go to Sean.
Yeah,
Yeah, so,
but we do need to think about what we are forcing on him,
Yeah.
okay? Because we have done that quite a bit. Okay, auditing fees, those are pretty standard, engineering fees, engineering and financial, you guys can stop me if anything's, website hosting, Director Young, is there something you wanna say there?
I think, my only concern is that we're spending money on insurance that I don't know what we're covering. And I'd like to have that removed, but that's just the insurance for all sorts of things that we're already paying for with other companies.
Yeah, that was a good point you brought up last time. So maybe we can dive into that a little bit more here, not tonight, but just.
Another thing is, I honestly think that we could do the website hosting for under $1,000 a year. I don't have websites anymore, but when I did, it was $10, $12 a month, and I was able to make edits as necessary, and not going through a third party and paying them. I wouldn't mind taking that on as a project.
Well, also, the other question, this one I think is rolling up not just the hosting expense itself, right, but also
Government.
all the other
entity.
stuff they're
Travis
doing.
Backus is managing it from a governmental
Yeah.
side.
Yeah, it's different than having a.
Well, I think that line is actually probably more accurately
Yeah.
described as all the internet stuff for the district, right? Cause I was like, I'm pretty sure, if this is like claiming just the hosting, I'd have a problem, right? Cause
This is government.
Yeah, another
Well,
thing
I
is
think
the Granicus that we're using, it's just a HTML editor, it's Granicus, and it's got government approval. It's not required, as Sean had pointed out, it's not required that we go through Granicus, we could use WordPress or Squarespace or whatever we wanted to use. It's a simple website, we can get that knocked way down, but it may take a little more effort early, and then it'll just go into a maintenance type of a thing. And I certainly believe that could be less than $100 a month.
You know what would be cool is to, and maybe you wanna take this on, Director Young, is go look at some of the other MUDs and see what they're doing, who they're using, and what their costs are. It's all public record, but it might be worth, checking it out.
we could check, yeah, we could see what they're doing price-wise.
Yeah.
I'm concerned they might be overspending as much as we are.
Well, some of them
It's a
don't
start.
have the revenue base we do either, though, that's the thing, like, maybe might not check some of the smaller MUDs are not built out right, or the developer's not covering, I'm curious to see what they're doing.
Okay. Something to explore a little bit more, district management fees, those didn't really go up. Legal fees, seminar expense, we really cut back on that this year, thank you, everyone.
can I ask a
Yes,
question?
yes.
What is the difference between legal fees sorry, never mind, answer my question.
We've got seminar fees, do we still have seminar expenses?
AWBD,
Yeah.
and I think Director Roberts and Lisa went to it this year,
Yeah.
and we all signed up
Okay.
on that, yeah. Communications, so that jumped up, what's up with that?
So, right now, Amy and I are the ones that are doing the newsletter. Cecilia and I did visit with Triton out there at AWBD. We thought they did a great job. I was going to add them to the 28th, agenda for you all to discuss their proposal. But to bring them in and have them do a newsletter a month, I think they are more than $150, And it basically comes out to $6,600 a year.
Is that the same company that we met
We
with?
did.
Yeah.
With the
they have-
survey?
They have been out here before, they're from the Houston area, they do a lot of muds. They would be able to watch the
Live.
Zoom, live and be able to create all of your content. They would actually come out to your parks whenever you're having events, and they would take all the pictures and actually be thoroughly involved, so it would literally be removing that from,
So they did do one of our newsletters. They came out and took pictures at the 4th of
no,
July
that
event.
was actually CDMP.
Oh, wait, that's what I was asking. Was it-
This
Okay.
is different.
Thank you.
Triton has come out and actually just interviewed with you guys
They
and,
did. And
Okay,
I
okay.
have to agree with Lisa, because that newsletter and just keeping up with all that takes so much of their time. And if they could get free of that, I think we would see of the operation side. I mean, I know you're just crammed right now.
I think
so.
we're doing a great job, but
Yeah.
like I said, it's just the newsletter is a lot.
Sure.
It requires a lot,
I'm
and
certainly happy to hear proposals.
Yeah, always. Okay, restricted covenants going up only by 1,000 or so, that's cool. Patrol service, you guys already have your increase, we signed off on that, and so that's a number that's not gonna change.
It looks like it's going down.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, it went down, but why did it go down?
Hours used, probably.
Yeah. it's-
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The
Yeah, I
survey
based
said
this
they
budget
wanted
off of
more
what
hours.
happened this fiscal year.
Yeah, that's actually, I asked Lisa, she has, I think she's gonna have
the survey is gonna be on the agenda, and it's just gonna be in the total.
because that was one of them that people wanted more hours. I don't have that discussion right now, I have a couple of different thoughts on that. I think they think more hours, but they don't realize how many hours you guys are really out here, because they don't see you guys.
Yeah,
So,
so I think that if we were to keep at that, I would like to get some of the data that has been provided by Deputy Lovato, because there are so many unmarked police hours. Maybe we could put that out into a statement for residents, keep it at the same, and then continue to monitor for, hey, do we need more security patrols or not? But another thing is, we're looking at doing a neighborhood watch, which would go hand in hand with the patrols. And my thoughts are that will get people walking it late at night into the parks where residents aren't normally allowed, or when things are closed off. So let's consider that as a response to the request for more security patrol.
okay, so we're gonna keep it, like I said, we're gonna keep the number where it is.
125 versus 135?
Yeah, and
Because I don't know, I mean, we've done neighborhood watches, and that's just where people call in. the
no,
crimes.
actually, we are working on a complete program.
We've done those before,
no.
so is it just the same thing?
No, let's not talk about it tonight.
Yeah,
I do have it on the
we're a little bit
agenda,
off agenda here.
but I do have it on the
We need to
agenda
talk
for the
about it.
28th, so we will go into that. And we've got some great residents that are jazzed about it. Okay, surveillance, that's about the same. Same fire protection, we got those numbers, payroll.
And that's just a straight, fire protection's just a straight pass through.
Yeah.
Why does it say Trinity still for surveillance?
Because we owe them for, well, actually,
We're finishing
we're
up.
finishing with them, this August is their last, payment, so, they're on here because this is the current plus the proposed.
So it should be 0?
Well, we'll use the same GL for whoever we
Mhm.
switch to, we'll just change.
And it's the
we'll
same
just
cost,
drop-
exact same
Yeah,
cost,
we'll
yeah.
drop Trinity.
Okay, the rest is pretty much, payroll, district functions.
Court resurfacing, though, we can remove 17,912, we don't need that 15,000 for court.
Take that out.
We can take that out.
that already, right?
Yes. that's our-
Thomas and Pool project, worked through that, and then Spyglass is 0. So, okay, so what is the magic number right now? And then we need to.
880.
I don't understand why Spyglass went to 0.
I thought there was
Because we
money.
already
Because
purchased
that
it.
was the initial purchase cost for the license.
I thought that, but there was also going to be an ongoing, like a
Annual
low,
maintenance.
like
Let me
maybe
check.
600 a year kind of maintenance.
Actually, that, Lisa, there is a maintenance
I'm
fee.
gonna ask.
Okay,
I'll bring that in.
You could catch, yeah, there should be like a couple $100, I think it was a,
yeah,
like ongoing license.
So we cut
Yeah.
it in half, just this,
Like, cut what in half?
the deficit.
the deficit.
It's at
It
880.
started at
So that's fantastic.
1698.
Okay, so, Dr. Johnson, I talked a little bit this morning, and, I would just encourage everyone to just do a little bit of homework, go back through this, see.
Before we adjourn, can we bring up a quick topic? if that's
Yeah,
all
but
right?
I'm not done.
Okay, sorry.
I'm not about to adjourn.
Okay, that's what I'm like.
I just, you guys did a great job tonight, and I still think there's some places that we can go down a little bit more, and we'll need to talk about the tax rate, and such, but we will do that next week. So I'm gonna go around the room, but yes, Director Sheila.
Sorry, that's what I forgot to do. But actually, Kelly, can we go back up to the revenue side of the tax rate real quick? John, we can go through it in detail next week, but I wanna make sure we are on this, right? That when we're doing our numbers, right, we are gonna have to, that when we talk about our tax rate for next year, we talk about the fact that our INS can account for the new bonds, right? That we're gonna issue, right,
So the way that works is when we set your tax rate, it is outstanding debt as of then. So like I have a district that's had their first hearing, so they're just advertising the total, highest total. But because they're actually selling in September, then they'll get their final breakdown day of bond sale. But the park bonds are somewhere currently within the TCEQ.
They are, yeah.
No, I mean, I've been like actively trying to find them.
Oh,
Because everything is coming out slowly from the TCEQ right now. Y'all are not gonna sell the bonds by the time you make your tax rate, so those
Okay.
would not be included. I have just in my report kind of put those in just so you could see what that would do to debt service, assuming
Good.
the projected interest rate. But they won't be counted at least this year for the
Okay, so
2024 tax rate.
so it'll show up in the 25 tax rate.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about because.
it's a good thing.
Because, yes, but because I guess that's because I guess the thing is like, since I'm thinking about our 3.5% limit, right? That how we're doing that with, is, we have to do INS and M&O under that limit, right? We're not a city where the M&O is under the 3.5 and INS floats where it needs to be. And that's what I'm trying to make sure where we've got
So
capacity to
y'all
cover stuff.
are unique because you do have the fire tax, which is considered a contract
Yep.
tax. So debt service and contract taxes take precedence.
Yep.
So then from there, whatever is left over is for the maintenance and operations.
Okay, great. Director Roberts, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think just where we're headed is the biggest concern for me, because of the way we set the tax rate last year. So how do you feel when it comes time? I mean, is it next year that we need to be more concerned, or when we sell bonds? I mean, how is it gonna look to the bond rating people?
With a deficit
Yeah.
budget, you could be, I mean, it depends on how they wanna take that, but you could be looking at a possible downgrade.
Okay,
Because y'all are currently A1,
right.
so, very good. I'm not saying that would happen, it's gonna depend on, they always look at your last 3 audits. They're gonna ask for current bookkeeper's report because they like to see where are you in relation to your revenues, your budget. So they look at all of that. Because this would be happening after you offset a tax rate, they would be wanting to see your next budget. Obviously, because y'all are built out, you don't have to worry about like finance plans showing future
Sure.
bonds or anything, because this was pretty much the only other bond. It's hard to say because, I mean, if you'd asked me 6 months ago, I wouldn't be worried, but there's been some uncertainty in the market. And I do know that those are things that they look at every time I put in a ratings request for any district. So it really just ends up on what do the numbers eventually look like when we get ready to move forward with the bonds.
Okay. Okay, those are just my concerns.
That's good. Director Johnson.
Yeah, I think I'm good for now.
Okay, Director Young.
I'm good.
Okay.
Now,
Thank
I would say that what he's shown you with revenues is we're right under the 3.5% tax rate. So that 2585 he's reflected for the maintenance and operation is based on, because home values went up, is the highest with staying under the 3.5%. So I only say that because I currently can't find you more owner money.
Yeah.
Because with the increase in home values, y'all are actually, the total tax rate's dropping 3 cents.
Ouch.
Okay, wow.
But, and I know this will come up, even with that, there would still be an increase on the bill of about $60.
Well, in this reality.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
So, yeah, well, that's.
All in favor?
All right.
That-
Thank you.